when I'm getting to the bag, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy, ayy. Let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Revenova, the official TMS provider for the Freight Coach. You guys, I've been a broker for a long time, and the tools that are at your disposal with Revenova help you eliminate bouncing between systems, which improves your accuracy when you are managing multiple tasks throughout your workday. Plus, it's built into the Salesforce cloud, so your CRM is fully integrated with your TMS, eliminating yet another silo. In today's day and age, you are definitely concerned about the safety of your data. With Revenova, it's fully protected. They have cutting-edge security that keeps your information safe so you can focus on what matters most, and that's growing your business. Speaking of growing your business, with Rate and Lane IQ, you get real-time pricing and route recommendations, helping you optimize costs and improve operational efficiencies, which ultimately helps you make smarter decisions. If you are like me and have recurring shipments from non-EDI customers, they have intuitive cloning features that let you easily replicate previous shipments, saving both shipper and carrier rates with just a few taps. If you are ready to learn more, visit www.revenova.com to request a demo. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys here. I'm going to bring her up in just a second. And we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that's data. What do you do with your data? How do you package that up? How do you make better decisions? How do you leverage technology that's out there to its fullest extent? I feel like at times we get a bunch of stuff and then we have a bunch of information coming our way, but we have no idea what to even do with it. So let's break all of that down. I have Sam Barone with GoodShip on the show today. Sam, thank you so much for joining me here.
Yes, thank you for having me, Chris.
Now, is it Barone or Barone? I didn't even ask you that. I'm sorry.
It's Barone. A lot of people say the proper pronunciation is Barone. However, my grandpa is straight from Italy, and that's how he pronounces it. So it's Barone.
Perfect. There we go. That works. So I did say it right.
Specify that because a lot of people are like, it should be Barone, but it's Barone.
Oh, thank you for telling me what my family's name should be. I really appreciate that. So Sam, I love starting this out every single day, just like this, especially with a new guest on the show. How'd you get your start in freight? What brought you into transportation?
So I've been in transportation for about 18 years now, which is crazy to think. It's been 18 years. Honestly, I got started because I just needed to make money coming out of college, right? Basically the reason why a lot of us start. And I just had the best time ever. Mm-hmm. Got involved at Coyote Logistics. I was a broker for about a year. Then I moved to their private fleet team for about 5 years. And I loved it because there's always something going on. I met a lot of great people along the way. And then I made my move into UPS Freight in the asset business and then moved over to technology. So it's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, it's you know, I as somebody who has, well, my wife will tell you I have ADD or ADHD, undiagnosed. That's what I love the most about freight, right? It's because it's different every single day. Like I struggle in monotony, like absolutely struggle. Like if I had to come in and just stare at the same spreadsheet all day long, I don't know if I could do that. Like I love how you can come in one day and you have one load on the board, for example, and you leave moving 15, right? Like there's just so much stuff that can go on out there. And it's like, I'm convinced if you're in this industry for more than 6 months, you'll never leave it, right? Like you might not always be a broker or always be a driver. You're going to be in the industry in some capacity for the entirety of your career, in my opinion, anyways.
Right. Yeah.
So
100%.
what about technology? Let's talk about that because there's been a bunch of stuff that has came out over the years, and you know there's a lot of companies that have came out, made a big splash for a period, and then have kind of went away and everything. What are you seeing about what you guys are doing at GoodShip? Like what's different right now about the product that you guys have released out into the market?
So going back to what you were saying earlier on about data, it's crazy. I mean, so you could have all the data in the world, right? But how do you execute on that data? And there is not a platform out there right now besides GoodShip that will help you make those decisions and give you those insights on how to execute on that data. And here are some examples. So we are built for transportation organizations, shippers, brokerages, asset carriers, managed transportation companies. And we realize they all really have that same problem. We are in the transportation space, so we know we are heads down trying to put out fires. We cannot pay attention to strategizing, understanding what our next step is going to be, having deep insights on our network. And when we do that and we're strategizing on a problem, we find ourselves spending weeks, days, months, whatever it is, figuring out how to solve for that problem. And the next thing we know, our heads are up and we have another one coming our way. Mm-hmm. So what GoodShip does is it really allows users to start their day and understand this is exactly where I need to spend my time and attention. And this is where there is opportunity to better my bottom line today and tomorrow, right? We're not looking back 6 months saying, what could we have done? And I think a lot of that in transportation is a look back. Like, man, I think I spent too much money. Man, I wish I had a different carrier, right? Oh, I wish I made better decisions in terms of how I awarded this freight for RFP. And GoodShip really allows you through our freight orchestration tool to understand exactly what you should be doing and where you can see immediate impact.
Do you think we're at a time where historical data, I'm never going to say historical data is irrelevant, but do you think historical data is losing its weight out there with advancements in technology and the ability to really push real-time pricing, real-time decision-making, where it's like, I look at with what's going on in the market today, for example, there's loads, like I'm very confident in what we're quoting on a lot of this stuff, but if there's any delays in the ship date, my rate could be off by like $800, right? It really changes the kind of like the dynamics of the shipment and the quote and stuff like that, where a few years ago, we'll say pre-COVID, right? Like I don't want to say like pre-COVID, you had a lot more confidence in the fact of like, hey, we're going to be at $4,000 for probably the next 6 months here. Doesn't matter on that. I think in today's environment, and then piggybacking off of the market that we just left, I don't know if I don't know if historical data is going to be as relevant in the decision-making process because there's so much real-time data that you're going to be able to make better buying decisions and better pricing decisions in the moment as opposed to looking at historicals.
Yeah. I agree. I think historical data is always going to be a key component, but it's no longer going to be the anchor of how you are operating your business and the decisions you make. Historical data is important when you want to look back and say, what carriers have been there for me through this market, right? Historically, how we perform in the lane, kind of some insights on that, but it's going to be a mix of things now. A lot of brokerages and asset carrier and shippers, they really are pricing out their business just looking at historical data and then going to a DAT or in a truck stop. And then they'll talk with their procurement team, talk with their pricing team, and all kind of just try to compile all of that. And that's no longer going to be the way, right? You just can't do that, especially with the way the market's going today. So I do believe that historical data is an important part of it, but it's definitely not going to be the anchor any longer.
Do you see? So, it's like, because I just remember filling out RFPs back in the day, Sam, where it was like, we're essentially taking last year's paid rates on lanes and we're adding a couple of percentage points, right? We're like, all right, we're coming up on the end of this cycle. Rates are probably going to increase. We're just going to go at it like this. There's only a couple of times that I can remember in my career where there was like multi rebids throughout the year because like the market shifted that much. There's a bunch of weather events, natural disasters, and stuff like that. And it's like, I think people overcomplicate pricing more than they should. I think that markets are a lot more stable than people want you to believe. I think they perform the same. And when I say they perform the same, the seasonalities haven't changed, right? Like there are when there's excess capacity in the market, there's still a peak produce season, right? When there's a shortage of capacity in the market, there's still peak building season out there in flatbeds, right? So it's like the seasonality doesn't change. It's just honestly, I think we're coming to a point in time where the drastic shifts in pricing are, I don't want to say are going to go away, but I just don't know if there's going to be any more drastic jumps where it's going to go from, say, $2 a mile to $4 a mile overnight and then back down to $1.50 a mile overnight. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that there's almost going to be like an equilibrium that is going to be, arising here in the foreseeable future where people are going to have so much information that's out there where they're going to be willing to take freight for less. And I'm not saying take cheap freight, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be willing to take freight for less because there's going to be data that says, hey, this shipper, you have a probability of getting loaded and unloaded within an hour. It pays a little bit less, but this other one that pays more, you're actually going to be sitting there for potentially 8 to 10 hours to get loaded and offloaded. Oh, did you? Uh-oh. Can I repeat that?
I heard some of it, but I think for about 30 seconds, I was frozen.
You were,
yeah.
And I thought I was like, you're either frozen or you're intently listening right now.
We were talking about drastic changes in the market in terms of pricing, right?
Yeah, and how like I could see a future where there's going to be so much data and information out there, Sam, where a carrier is going to look at it and it's be like, hey, I'm going to take this load. It's going to be for less money than this other one, but like the probability of me getting loaded and unloaded in an hour or two is a lot higher, and it's going to be publicized than this other load that pays, maybe $500 more, but there's a high probability you're going to sit for 8 hours at the shipper and the receiver, and you're going to miss revenue because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That time is here with GoodShip. Not to get all salesy here and, talk about our product, but we have those insights already in the platform, and that's important. So first of all, as the market goes up and down, you want to be collaborative with your partners. Mm-hmm. It's not a carrier versus shipper thing anymore. It's let's build a relationship and see what we can do together, right? And so with GoodShip, we have lane insights where the carriers can log in and they can understand, hey, you know what? This ships in the days I want it to ship. The loading time is minimal, right? I know that the lead time is typically 4 days versus I'd rather have this than get it, day of. And we have those insights for our carrier partners. And then vice versa, if you're a broker or you're an asset carrier and you want to go through GoodShip and you want to price out an RFP, the system will produce those insights for you. Do you have a round trip opportunity, right? Where are you against market usually at this? How much historically have you taken? Does this make sense with your network? Do you have capacity available? And so I think when we talk about pricing, the idea of paper rates is gone. Mm-hmm. It's no longer like, okay, I want to get more a mile, right? Round trip. It's what makes sense for my business, because at the end of the day, if I'm comparing, this is the cost per load, but this is the cost of me taking it, I want to make sure that those two things are even, mm-hmm. right? Like I don't want to be a carrier and I don't want to, like you said, wait 8 hours to get unloaded, even though I'm making maybe, a couple extra $100 more, right? Where I could actually take that and I could pair up a round trip with someone else, and overall my rate is better. And so GoodShip is helping carriers and brokerages give insights onto how to do that.
How much do you think brokers cost themselves by constantly going out and finding new capacity on lanes as opposed to actually digging in and developing a closed capacity loop with a core set of carriers out there? And then part two of that question, how is that actually affecting their relationships with their shippers that they're unaware of?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of dedicated business with carriers
Mhm,
because, like I said, like this is not you're not out for yourself anymore,
mhm.
right? Because the market is going to go up and down. And I think you are costing yourself a lot of business and a lot of money if you are consistently just going out and finding a new carrier for the cheapest rate.
Mhm.
What is the pro of doing that? Yeah, you can make money up front, but long term, you're screwing yourself over.
Mhm.
So I think that those dedicated relationships are super important.
How does not applying that affect your relationship with your customer then? Because I think that a
Oh,
lot of brokers don't really think of it. Like they're so caught up in the transaction, they don't think about the long-term ramifications about what could happen.
right. Um, it's communication is everything, especially when you want to go back to your customers and have that relationship with them. So if you don't have a relationship with your carriers, you're not going to have a relationship with your customer. Right? I
Mhm.
mean, there's just no way. And I think dedicated capacity is huge too. Back in the day at Coyote, and it's still this way, is we would actually take the capacity that we had a carrier for, and then we would go to our customer partners and we'd say, we have this available capacity for you. They're a reliable carrier. This is how many trucks they have. These are the lanes they typically run. This is the freight they like. They would be a perfect fit. So once
Mhm.
again, I think a lot of times we are focused on getting new business, getting the best rate possible from the carrier and then matching those up. Where
Mhm.
in reality, it should be opposite,
Mhm.
right? We already have that established carrier partnership with a dedicated group, and we're going to our customer partners and we're saying, this is what we have for you. This is part of my selling tactic, right? This is part of my business. This is where I'm important as a broker to you, Mr. or Miss Shipper.
Mhm.
I have this reliable solution for you with great service, great communication, and this is important and worth more than just getting, like I said, the cheapest carrier at any given time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% because that's just how I operate inside of my business, right? Like we've already, especially like on Blitz Week this week here, we've already reached out to our customer with what carriers are available of ours on the days of the week that they are this week. Because we've talked to them about this like a month ago, like, hey, this is what's going on, and my customer hit me up late last week, and they're like, hey, what are your rates for next week? And I told them a couple of lanes. I'm like, I hate even quoting you this, but if we don't know what day of the week that this is going to move, and this is a last minute truck in hand situation, this is probably what it's going to cost. If you
Right.
can wait shipping this week at all, I would highly, highly advise that. And I would push it out to next week. If it has to move next week, I would almost rather go same day truck in hand style pricing than throw you a rate today, because we might have one of our regulars that are in there that don't play the blitz week price increase game. They know their break. They know their numbers. And we're gonna pay them the same out there. And again, you have to have those upfront conversations with your customers. Like you're not going to lose business by telling them the truth, right? Like I think most people are going to shoot themselves in the foot, and they're going to go in and they're going to think that this week is going to be just like any other week out there, and they're going to quote low, and then they're going to not be able to cover any of the freight, and they're going to fail on loads at a higher level. And I think this year in particular, Sam, from what I'm seeing out there, this kind of has all of the signs of showing that like this is probably going to last through Memorial Day, potentially. Like, depending on what happens this week with a tightening of capacity, spikes and rates, I could see this lasting through Memorial Day this year.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So, with what you guys are doing in going out there, you're talking about like working with your shipper partners and everything. What are some of those things that your guys' shipper clients have came to you and said, "I really wish brokers or carriers would do this for us"?
Yeah. So, I think when you are awarding freight to a brokerage or a carrier, first of all, you have all these wishes and you see things going a certain way. But one of the biggest holes right now is pre and post procurement cycles. You have no idea what the hell is going on.
Mhm.
And the reason why you don't know what's going on is because, like I said earlier, your head is down and you are just trying to live every day and put out fires and keep moving on with your life. And so I think what they wish that they had more from their carriers and their brokerages is, like I said, communication earlier, and an understanding of why, the reason behind why they're late, why they need a rate increase, right? Why they want more freight in a lane. And so that communication layer needs to be there, because if they don't communicate with their carrier partners, well, then how are they supposed to operate, right? So I think that's the biggest thing too. And like you said, like understanding the freight that their carriers want, especially now that the market has flipped. The shippers are really going to need to understand what makes their carriers tick and what could keep those relationships going.
So when it comes down to communication, why is it so hard for people, do you think? Like, I'm genuinely curious. I know why it was hard for me early on, but like, I also got to a point where I'm like, I'm really sick of all the bullshit and the lying. I'm just going to tell the truth now. And if it costs me business, it costs me business, but like, I need to sleep at night, you know? And I just got to the point now where how I operate personally inside of my company, Sam, is this: like, I'd rather lose a customer for telling them the truth than keep one on a lie. That's just how we're approaching building our company here.
Yeah. I think people don't take time anymore. I don't know why. And they don't have the details. So one really cool thing about GoodShip is our carrier and customer scorecards. The way that our carrier partners are going to be utilizing GoodShip for their shippers is they will go to their shipper and say, hey, I know that you want us to lower our rate here, or I know that we're not taking as much freight as we said we would, and just be ready for those conversations. But check out this scorecard and look how we've been servicing you all. Look, I'm going to show it to you in your face, and you're going to see all the details. I'm being very transparent here, right? And this is where there's opportunity for us to work together better. This is what we're doing great for you. This is what we should focus on next time for your next RFP. And the ability to collaborate and have those details and insights at the shipper level and carrier level is going to make things so much easier in terms of communication with your carriers and your shipper partners. So like I said earlier, I think it's detail is lacking, and then people don't really care. They don't take time, and I don't know why.
I'm right there with you. There's a big difference between when you are handed a book of business through attrition, because I think a lot of sales reps that come in, they work for a larger company right away. They come in as a sales rep, and then they're kind of handed some accounts that are maybe they're low volume, right? Or a sales rep left, and then they're given a couple of accounts out there. So I'm not saying this is everybody or everywhere, but I think there's a lot of people out there who have built books of businesses through attrition and not organically going out, building it by cold calling, doing site visits, actually prospecting. And I say that because like it very much changes my approach when I built it from nothing, right? Like I've mentioned on the show numerous times, I'm a glutton for punishment. I love starting businesses with 0 customers, 0 revenue, 0 guarantees. I love just going out there and getting my face beat in. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it. But I look at my relationships with my customers a lot differently now that I was there from $0, 0 revenue to where we are now, as opposed to if it was just given to me. And I think like there's a lot of truth behind that. And it's just like how many lottery winners go broke, right? Because they never had to work for it. And I think if you don't have to work for something, you don't appreciate what it takes to build it up and then manage that. Because getting business in the door is one skill set. Growing that business is a completely different skill set. So it's like for me, it's really understanding that, you know, I think that level of care that you're talking about there, I see it a lot too. It's not there if you don't have to actually fight for that business.
Right. It's so much more rewarding when you build it yourself. It just is.
No, I agree. And it's like, I look at it, and that's what I wish more people would actually like invest that time in, Sam, is like when you go out there and you can go and you build a book of business up from scratch and you see it go from 0 loads to 10 loads a week to 100 loads a week to whatever that looks like, you have such a deeper appreciation for that business, and you'll actually fight a lot harder to do the right thing by it, because you know that when you're out there developing business, it's a 99% failure rate, right? I don't care how good of a sales rep you are. You're not getting more than like a 1 to a 2% conversion on your customer and your prospects every single given month, right? Like it takes a long time to build a pipeline. And then once you get that pipeline up and running, you might convert customers, but are they going to grow with you? Are they going to scale with you? Are they going to pay their bills, right? Like there's a whole other ballgame that comes along with it. And I think that's why it's like having that transparent conversations with your customers is so vital, because it's like, if you're going to be a partner with somebody, last time I checked, like I love my wife, but like we don't get along every day. It's our ability to communicate in those times. That's what solidifies our partnership. And there's a lot of similarities out there with your customers. You have to have those conversations with them.
Yeah. Do you think people just aren't thinking long-term anymore?
Yeah. I think we've always had a short-term memory. I think we are ingrained. It's ingrained in our DNA to get safety and security. And when we have safety and security, we shut off all of our drive at that time.
Right.
And then now we're in a society, we're at the instant results with everything. Again, like we don't have to fight for food. We don't have to fight. Like when you can order something on Amazon and have it in your house in 90 minutes or less in some instances, right? So it's like that desire to hunt, air quote, is gone. People expect results. People think just because they've started a business or started an LLC and that they have a pulse, they're entitled to become a millionaire without working. Like you got to work so much harder for the results that you want. And I think that's why so many people give up and don't fight for it, because they're like, oh, I'll just go find something else. They think it's that easy.
Right. I agree.
It's one of those things where I think but on the flip side, that's why you can win at such an easier level now than maybe in the past, because so many people are waiting for the results to come to them. Where if you have that ability to push through, again, like we're talking about with customers here, whether it's with a carrier, broker, it doesn't matter. You don't know if the relationship's going to work, right? Just like I have all the faith in the world that my business is going to be successful and I'm going to work my ass off to make sure, but I don't know if it's going to, right? Like there's not a guarantee that there's a lot of shit that could happen that's out of my control, but it's your ability to continue to show up and push through a lot of that uncertainty to build up that stability. And that comes with having difficult conversations with people, protecting your business, protecting your best interests and stuff that's out there. And, again, not all revenue is created equally. And one of the most powerful things I think you said out there is your customer scorecard. Are you actually making money with that customer? Or are you putting in a ton of effort for no return? But that is easier and more comfortable than going out and trying to find another new business for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is, the details are important, but when you're working with a customer or a carrier or whoever it is, they need to have faith in you as the person and not just, like your brokerage, right? Like, yeah, a built, stable brokerage is what someone wants, but if they don't have faith in you and what you're doing, then why would they move forward, right? And so that's where I feel a lot of people just need to invest their time is they need to put more energy into their relationships with the people that they're selling to.
Mm-hmm. How do you do that though, right? Because it's like, I think the word relationships is thrown out there a lot. What does a successful relationship or a partnership look like to you, Sam?
So I want to know about the problem that everyone is experiencing, and all the problems are different. There's no way in hell you can talk to someone and they have the same exact problems and the same exact viewpoint as the next person you're talking to. So you need to understand the everyday life of that person, what they're going through, the issues that they're facing every day, and you need to find a solution for them. And it's going to look different for everyone. So you can't go out and sell a product to someone and say, this will solve all of your problems, just this one workflow. It's like, no, I know you have a problem with carrier procurement. I know you have a problem with sourcing. I know you wish you ran more mini bids. Or maybe the next person, I know that you want to come in for the day and understand where all your backhauls are or how you should optimize your network, right? Like everyone has different problems. And if you don't take the time to focus in on that person and their problems, then you're just another salesperson. It's just another platform they're looking at. They're easily going to say, we don't want this, right? Because you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand my business. So that's number one. I think people don't listen enough. That was one of the best advice I ever got from my old boss is just listen more than you talk. Listen to what these people are going through. So listening, understanding their problems, and then, kind of going from there. And then also like caring about the person. That sounds so cliche, but like, I care about the people that I talk to. I care about how many kids they have. I care about when their birthday is. I care about where they live, right? Like, because it also isn't fun for me or for you or for any other salesperson just to be working with just someone you don't know, right? So understanding that person on a personal level, and then like understanding every day like what they're going through is, I think, key.
Yeah. I think one thing a lot of sales reps and a lot of service providers should actually do is put themselves in, say, the transportation manager's seat for a second. How does your lack of communication affect their business, right? Because I think at times we fail to realize that our cheese manufacturer that we ship for has 1,000 competitors that do the exact same thing they do. And if they can't supply that product to their customers in a timely and reasonable manner, you think that they're not going to go out there and find another provider to do that, right? I think at times we only think about the transaction and how it affects our business, and we try and protect our profits. And that actually costs us, and it costs our customers a lot more. And I think if you stop for a minute and thought, how is this going to affect my customer? How is it going to affect their customer? And what is that downstream effect that comes along with it? And I think like at times, as a broker, I think we think that we're the only ones out there that have competitors. There are competitors out there in every industry. It doesn't matter if you're a food manufacturer, pipe supplier, tires, construction equipment. Look at how many construction rental equipment businesses there are in your local community. There's like 4, right? Like they're all competing for the exact same market share. So it's like your ability to effectively operate, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, that is what is required. And if you can't do that and you're only thinking about yourself, you're going to recycle through a lot of business. And that business that you're recycling through could be those core accounts that you could build a literal life career off of if you just go about, like, take yourself and put yourself in their situation, in their shoes for a minute.
Oh, yeah. It's like, think long term, put in the work, understand what they're going through. I agree.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Sam, thank you so much. This flew by. I told you this was going to fly by, Sam.
Yeah, that was fast. That was fun. Thank you, Chris.
I know. That's it. Sam, how does anybody reach out to you or GoodShip to find out more about what you guys got going on?
You can reach out to Samantha at goodship.io. You can go to our website, request a demo, find us on LinkedIn. We're everywhere.
Perfect.
We're everywhere.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Sam, thank you so much. If you guys can't find Sam or GoodShip out there, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in contact with them. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank it on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money, anything. Hey, ooh, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back.